I sat on the edge of our bed, Amelia's phone a cold weight in my palm. The room was dark, save for the blue glow of the screen slicing through the shadows. Her soft snores hummed behind me, oblivious, peaceful. My thumb hesitated, then pressed her finger to the sensor. The phone unlocked with a faint click. I shouldn't have been doing this, but I couldn't stop. I scrolled through her messages, heart thumping against my ribs. Work stuff, chats with friends, nothing. Then I saw it, a thread with Oliver, that greasy waiter from Sunny Hill Diner. My gut twisted. I tapped it open. A photo loaded Amelia and Oliver, lips smashed together, grinning like they'd hit the jackpot. Her hand rested on his chest, the hand with my ring. My vision blurred. Nausea clawed up my throat. I zoomed in. Her eyes were closed, lost in the moment. His smug face beamed, triumphant. They looked happier than she'd ever been with me. I wanted to hurl the phone across the room, wake her with a scream. But I sat there, frozen, staring at the wreckage of my life. The bedroom mocked me. Wedding photos on the dresser, her grandma's quilt, curtains we'd picked out together. A shrine to a lie. How long? I scrolled back. A year. A whole damn year of late meetings and yoga classes. I'd been busting my ass, chasing sales quotas, while she played me for a fool. Our wedding day flashed in my mind her smile, her vows. Had it all been fake? No. The messages started a year ago. But a year was enough. More than enough. The shock melted, and rage burned through me. I hated her. Hated him. Hated myself for being blind. My hands shook as I set the phone down, careful not to stir her. She didn't deserve a confrontation, not yet. Yelling wouldn't cut it. I'd be smarter. Colder. I'd play the doting husband, gather proof, and when they least expected it, I'd make them pay. I lay back, staring at the ceiling. The quilt scratched against my skin, the silence deafening. I pictured Oliver's grin, the way he'd chatted us up at the diner. I'd tipped him extra, the idiot. Now I wanted to smash his face in, and Amelia her excuses, her fake smiles. She'd regret every one. A strange calm settled over me, sharp and icy. The pain still stabbed, but beneath it, something hardened. Revenge wasn't just an idea, it was a promise. I'd wait, watch, plan. They thought they'd won, thought I was clueless. They had no idea what was coming. I'd make sure of it. The bathroom was steamy, the mirror fogged at the edges, condensation dripping down the glass. Amelia's perfume hung in the air, sweet and familiar, twisting my gut. She applied mascara with steady hands, humming a tune that grated on my nerves. She looked beautiful, and I hated her for it. "Morning," I said, my voice rough. She turned, smiling. "Hey, you're up early." "Couldn't sleep," I muttered, reaching for my toothbrush. My reflection looked haggard, eyes shadowed. "Big day?" "Just the marketing meeting," she said, dabbing on lipstick a shade too red. "Fun," I said, forcing a smile. She laughed, but it sounded hollow. In the kitchen, the coffee maker gurgled, steam rising from the pot. I poured 2 cups, the aroma filling the room. Amelia buttered her toast, the knife scraping against the bread. "Plans after work?" I asked, stirring sugar into my coffee. My hand shook slightly. "Dinner with Sarah," she said, not meeting my eyes. "She wants to catch up." Sarah. The name was a lie. "Cool. Tell her I said hi." "Will do," she replied, taking a bite of toast. Crumbs fell onto the table. I sipped my coffee, the bitterness matching my mood. The clock ticked, each second a reminder of her deceit. I wanted to slam my fist on the table, demand the truth. But I swallowed my anger with my coffee. After she left, the house fell silent. I sat at the table, staring at her lipstick-stained mug. Then I opened my laptop, the screen's glow harsh in the dim light. I dove into my evidence folder, screenshots, timestamps, photos, each one a betrayal. I cross-referenced her phone records. Tuesdays and Thursdays, late work nights, but calls to Oliver instead. Credit card statements showed dinners at restaurants I'd never heard of. My chest tightened. How had I been so blind? I leaned back, rubbing my temples. This was exhausting, but I couldn't stop. I glanced at our wedding photo. We looked so happy. A pang of loss hit me, but I shoved it down. I needed more. I installed a tracking app on her phone, my fingers trembling as I synced it. That night, it showed her at the Italian restaurant. My jaw clenched so hard it ached. Later, in my office, I sat in the dark, the laptop's light casting shadows. Despair washed over me. Was this worth it? The constant suspicion, the lies, the anger it was eating me alive. Part of me wanted to call her, end this charade. But that would be too quick, too merciful. No, she needed to suffer like I had. I searched for hidden cameras, small and discreet. I could catch them in the act, undeniable proof. My finger hovered over the buy button. Was I really going to spy on my own wife? Then I remembered the photo, their smug faces, and my resolve hardened. Yes, I was. I clicked purchase, feeling a mix of guilt and anticipation. This was war, and I was arming myself. As the confirmation email arrived, I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. The man I used to be would never have done this. But that man was gone, killed by Amelia's betrayal. In his place was someone who wouldn't be played for a fool. Sleep was elusive. I lay in bed, the sheets cold, my mind racing with plans, scenarios, outcomes. I was obsessed, and I knew it, but I wouldn't rest until I had justice. Finally, exhaustion pulled me under, but their faces haunted my dreams. The bell above the door jangled as I stepped into Sunny Hill Diner. The smell of frying bacon and coffee hit me like a wave, familiar and nauseating all at once. Wooden booths lined the walls, their red vinyl seats cracked with age. A jukebox hummed in the corner, playing some old country tune. This place used to be our spot, Amelia's and mine. Now it felt like enemy territory. I slid into a booth at the back, the one with the best view of the door. My hands were clammy, and I wiped them on my jeans. The waitress, a girl with a name tag that read Jenny, sauntered over, notepad in hand. "Coffee?" she asked, chewing gum. "Black," I said, my voice tight. She nodded and walked away, her sneakers squeaking on the linoleum. I pulled out my phone, checking the time. Emma was late. Maybe she chickened out. Maybe this was a mistake. My thumb hovered over Amelia's contact, the urge to call her, to scream, to end this charade, almost overwhelming. But I clenched my fist, shoving the phone back into my pocket. No, this was the plan. The bell jangled again, and Emma walked in. She looked different out of her diner apron jeans, a hoodie, her hair pulled back in a messy bun. Her eyes scanned the room, landing on me. She didn't smile, just nodded and made her way over. "Hey," she said, sliding into the booth opposite me. Her voice was low, controlled, but I could see the tension in her jaw. "Hey," I echoed, pushing the coffee toward her. "You want anything?" She shook her head. "Let's just get to it." I pulled out the folder from my bag, the evidence I'd gathered, screenshots, photos, timestamps. I spread them across the table, the glossy paper catching the diner's fluorescent light. Emma's eyes widened as she picked up a photo of Amelia and Oliver, their faces close, laughing. "Jesus," she muttered, her fingers trembling slightly. "How long?" "A year," I said, the words like ash in my mouth. "Maybe more." She nodded, her lips pressed into a thin line. I knew something was off. He's been distant, coming home late, smelling like perfume. Her voice cracked, and she cleared her throat. I thought I was paranoid. "You're not," I said, leaning forward. "They're playing us both." Emma's eyes met mine, and for a moment, the diner faded away. It was just us, two people betrayed by the ones we loved. The anger in her gaze mirrored my own, a simmering rage ready to boil over. "We need to make them pay," she said, her voice steady now. "Not just divorce. That's too easy." I nodded, a thrill running through me. Finally, someone who understood. "I've been thinking about that. Something public, something they can't ignore." Emma leaned in, her eyes narrowing. "Like what?" I hesitated, then pulled out another photo of the kissing selfie. "We could use this. Make posters, plaster them around town. Let everyone see what they've done." Emma's lips twitched into a half smile. "That's a start. But we need more. Something that hits them where it hurts." I thought of the ceiling trap, the idea that had been festering in my mind. What if we catch them in the act? Rig the bedroom with cameras. Maybe something to scare them. Emma's eyebrows shot up. Like what? A drop-down poster, I said, the words tumbling out. My face, huge, with "Caught You" written across it. They'd freak out. Emma laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. That's insane. I love it. The tension in my chest eased a fraction. For the first time in months, I wasn't alone in this. Emma's fury matched mine, her pain a reflection of my own. We were allies now, bound by betrayal. Let's do it, she said, her voice firm. But we need to plan this carefully. No mistakes. We spent the next hour hashing out details. Emma suggested making the poster look like a movie ad, something dramatic to add to the humiliation. I sketched a rough design on a napkin Amelia and Oliver's faces. The words, "Ghost of Infidelity," in bold letters. Emma snorted, her eyes gleaming with dark amusement. This is going to be epic, she said, tracing the sketch with her finger. But we need to make sure they're together when it happens. I'll fake a trip, I said, my mind racing. Tell her I'm out of town for a few days. She'll invite him over. Emma nodded. And I'll keep Oliver busy until then. Make sure he doesn't suspect anything. The plan solidified, each detail clicking into place like a puzzle. But as we talked, a sliver of doubt crept in. Was this too much? Amelia had hurt me, yes. But destroying her like this, would it make me feel better or just hollow? I pushed a thought away. She deserved it. They both did. The guilt was just a remnant of the man I used to be, the one who loved her. That man was gone. Emma must have seen the flicker in my eyes because she reached across the table, her hand brushing mine. We're doing the right thing, she said softly. They need to face the consequences. I nodded, swallowing hard. Yeah, they do. The bell jangled again, and a group of teenagers piled in, laughing and shouting. The diner's cozy vibe returned, the smell of fries and coffee wrapping around us like a blanket. But for me, it was a war room now, the booth our strategy table. Emma gathered the photos, slipping them back into the folder. I'll get started on the posters, she said, standing up. You handle the ceiling trap. Deal, I said, rising to meet her. Let's make them regret ever crossing us. She smiled, a fierce, determined grin. Oh, they will. As she walked out, the bell jangling behind her, I felt a surge of adrenaline. This was it, the beginning of the end. Amelia and Oliver had no idea what was coming, and I couldn't wait to see their faces when it did. The motel room was a cave of shadows, illuminated only by the cold glow of my laptop screen. I sat hunched over it, my eyes locked on the live camera feed streaming from our bedroom. My pulse thrummed in my ears, a relentless rhythm counting down to the moment I'd been planning for weeks. In the living room, Amelia and Oliver's laughter filtered through the tinny speakers, a sound that twisted my gut. My hand clutched my phone, thumb poised over the app that controlled the ceiling trap. This was the precipice. They drifted into the bedroom, Oliver's arm draped possessively around her waist. Bile rose in my throat as she giggled, shoving him playfully onto the bed. He tugged her down with him, their lips crashing together in a kiss that sent a shiver of revulsion down my spine. I forced myself to keep watching, to bide my time. Their hands fumbled with buttons and zippers, clothes dropping to the floor in a careless pile. The moment had come. With a tap, I triggered the mechanism. The ceiling panel slid open with a faint whir, and the poster unfurled, dropping like a guillotine. My face, enlarged to a grotesque scale, glared down at them. The words, "Caught You," slashed across my forehead in bold red letters. For a heartbeat, the room froze. Then Amelia's eyes flicked upward, and her scream shattered the stillness. Oliver jolted back, his face a mask of shock. "What the hell?" he yelled, tumbling off the bed and tangling in his own jeans. Amelia yanked the sheets up to her chest, her mouth gaping in a silent, horrified gasp. They stared at the poster, then at each other, their panic a palpable thing I could almost taste. A laugh ripped out of me, raw and jagged. It echoed in the empty motel room, a sound I barely recognized as my own. Leaning closer to the screen, I drank in their fear, their confusion. Oliver snatched his shirt from the floor, his fingers clumsy with the buttons. Amelia groped for her phone, hands trembling so violently she nearly dropped it. I'd cut the Y. There'd be no lifeline for them. They were mine to toy with. I fired off a text from my phone, "Come to Sunny Hill Diner now," or "This goes viral." Attached was a snapshot of the poster, their kiss immortalized in glossy print. Their phones buzzed in unison, and they stiffened, reading the message. Oliver's curse was a low hiss, his complexion draining to a sickly white. Amelia crumpled, sobs tearing through her as she clutched her face. Let her weep. It was only the beginning. They dressed in a frantic blur, words scarce between them. Oliver kept darting glances at the ceiling, as if another trap might spring. Amelia swiped at her tears, leaving black streaks of mascara across her cheeks. They were a pitiful sight, and I savored it, letting the satisfaction settle deep in my bones. 20 minutes later, the diner's door banged open, and they stumbled in, breathless and ragged. Emma and I waited at the counter, the divorce papers and a stack of posters arranged with precision beside us. The place was deserted except for Jenny, the waitress, who busied herself wiping tables and studiously avoided our gaze. She knew better than to interfere. Amelia's eyes were bloodshot, her makeup a ruin. "Will, please," she croaked, her voice breaking on the plea. "I can explain." "Save your breath," I snapped, rising to my feet. Emma folded her arms, her stare sharp enough to cut glass. Oliver shifted uncomfortably, refusing to meet my eyes. "Look, man, this is all a big misunderstanding," he mumbled. "Misunderstanding?" Emma's voice was a whip crack. "You've been sleeping with his wife for a year. That's not a misunderstanding, it's a choice." Amelia flinched, curling in on herself. "I was lonely, Will. You were always gone, always working. I needed someone." "Needed someone?" I repeated, my tone climbing with incredulity. "You had me. You had our marriage. But that wasn't enough for you, was it?" Tears carved tracks down her face. "I love you, Will. I do. This was a mistake." "A mistake?" My laugh was a bitter shard. "A year-long mistake? You don't get to shrug it off like that." Oliver took a tentative step forward, palms up. "Let's just calm down, okay? We can talk this out." "Talk?" Emma sneered. "You think words undo this?" I snatched the divorce papers and thrust them at Amelia. "Sign them. Now." She stared at the stack, her hands quaking. "Will, please. We can work through this. Counseling. Anything you want." "No," I said, my voice hard and unyielding. "You made your bed. Lie in it." Oliver cleared his throat, grasping for control. "Maybe we can, compensate you. Financially." Emma's eyes narrowed to slits. "You think money erases this?" "It's a start," he muttered, barely audible. I shook my head. "No, you'll pay, but not with cash." I hefted the pile of posters. "You're going to hand these out, tomorrow, at the train station. All 500 of them." Amelia's eyes widened in horror. "What?" "No, Will, please." Or I cut in, brandishing my phone. "This photo goes to everyone you know. Family, friends, your boss, everyone." Oliver blanched. "You can't do that." "Try me," I said, my finger poised over the send button. Amelia lunged, grabbing my arm, her nails biting into my skin. "Will, don't. I'll do it. Just don't send it." I shook her off, unmoved. "You'll do it regardless. Both of you." Emma advanced, her tone frigid. "And if you don't, we'll make sure the whole town knows what you are." Oliver's fist clenched, his jaw tight. "This is blackmail." "Call it justice," I replied. "You've got until 11 p.m. tomorrow to distribute every poster. For each one you miss, you owe us $10. Amelia's sobs grew louder, her body trembling. "Will, please, I'm begging you." I looked at her, the woman I'd vowed to love, the woman who'd shattered that vow. For a fleeting second, doubt flickered in me. Then I saw their kiss again, their secret smiles, their betrayal. "You should have thought of that before," I said, my voice steady. Oliver gripped Amelia's arm. "Come on, let's go. We'll figure something out." "No," she whispered, pulling free. "I can't." "You don't have a choice," Emma said, her contempt a tangible weight. Amelia's gaze locked on mine, desperate. "Will, I'm sorry." I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this, I said, turning my back. Get out. The bell above the door jangled as they fled. I sank onto the stool, my hands unsteady. Emma slid a coffee my way, her face a blank slate. You okay? She asked. I nodded, though the truth was murkier. The rush was ebbing, leaving an empty ache behind. Yeah, it's done. Her hand rested briefly on my shoulder. They'll get theirs. I stared at the posters, their faces frozen in guilt. Tomorrow, their shame would be public. I'd be there, watching, relishing it. The diner's neon sign hummed, bathing the room in a crimson glow. I sipped the coffee, its bitterness anchoring me. This wasn't the end, not yet. But for now, I'd claimed this victory. And it was enough. The train station hummed with the chaos of the afternoon commute, a relentless tide of bodies surging through the concourse. I lounged against the cafe window, a half-eaten burger cooling in my grip, my gaze locked on the scene across the street. Amelia and Oliver stood by the entrance, clutching stacks of posters, their faces etched with humiliation. They looked diminished, fragile, like reprimanded kids forced into a public confession. A pack of teenagers swaggered past, their laughter cutting through the din. One grabbed a poster from Oliver's trembling hands, his eyes bulging as he scanned it. No way, bro, this you? He mocked, waving it high. His crew swarmed, guffawing and snapping pics with their phones. Oliver's jaw worked soundlessly, his body rigid as the group drifted off, already uploading their taunts online. Amelia wasn't faring better. She approached a sharp-dressed woman, voice quivering as she extended a poster. The woman peeked at it, recoiling. "What's this trash?" she barked, thrusting it back. "Get a real job, freak." Amelia shrank, head dipping, as she shuffled toward her next target. I bit into my burger, its flavor lost amid the rush of satisfaction flooding me. This was exceeding every expectation. Each sneer, each cackle, each repulsed stare soothed the raw ache they left in me. Months of festering resentment were unraveling, and I was finally cashing in. A suited man with a swinging briefcase stopped to take a poster from Oliver. He squinted at it, brow creasing. "This a joke?" he asked, voice clipped. Oliver mumbled, "No, sir. It's real." The man's lip curled. "You're twisted, kid." He balled the poster and chucked it at Oliver's shoes. "Clear out before I get security." Oliver's cheeks flamed, fists tightening. I half expected a swing, but he just stewed, motionless. The man strode off, muttering, and Oliver deflated, shoulders slumping. Amelia's quiet sobs drifted over the plaza, pulling eyes her way. She'd stopped distributing, clutching her posters like armor. A knot of college students ringed her, phones up, filming her collapse. "What's wrong, lady? Boyfriend ditch you?" one jeered. She shook her head, tears streaking her face. "Please, just take one," she murmured, shoving a poster forward. They howled, one snatching it and brandishing it like a trophy. "Check it, she's a star." Their laughter swelled into a raucous chorus. I sipped my soda, bubbles prickling my throat. A flicker of pity stirred maybe I should stop this. I smothered it fast. They'd earned every second of this reckoning. The crowd swelled as rush hour hit its stride, a churning mass of irritation and apathy. Amelia and Oliver floundered in the crush, their posters grabbed or brushed aside. A stumbling drunk barreled into Oliver, sending him sprawling. "Watch where you're going," the man slurred, whiskey fumes trailing him. Oliver clambered up, disheveled, frustration carved into his face. "Sorry," he muttered to the drunks retreating back. Amelia's pile was thinning, but her spirit was crumbling faster. She sagged against a column, eyes dull, handing out posters like a broken machine. One slipped free, drifting down. A boot smeared mud across their printed faces. I glanced at my watch. They had till 11 p.m., but they'd never last. That thought sparked a surge of triumph. They'd flop, and I'd claim every dime they owed. Just shy of 10, police lights sliced through the dusk grid and blue strobes painting the scene. 2 officers marched up, faces stern. "What's this about?" one demanded, eyeing the posters. Amelia whispered, "We're just passing out flyers." The officer's stare sharpened. Looks like trouble. Got a permit? Oliver blanched. No, sir, we didn't. You're done here, the officer cut in, seizing Oliver's arm. Amelia's cries spiked as the second cop guided her away. The crowd parted, whispers buzzing. Phones captured it all. I leaned back, a grin tugging my lips. This was flawless, beyond my wildest dreams. As they were hauled off, Amelia's gaze swept the throng and snagged on me. Our eyes met, time stalling. Her lips shaped my name, silent. Then she vanished, swallowed by the swarm. I polished off my burger, savoring the taste of payback. Tomorrow their disgrace would splash across headlines, and I'd devour every line. For now, I basked in this victory, the payoff of meticulous plotting. They'd thought they could outmaneuver me, but I'd outplayed them, and this was just the start. I sat at the kitchen table, the morning sun spilling through the blinds, casting stripes of light across the newspaper. The headline screamed in bold, "Cheating couple arrested after handing out their own affair posters." A mug of coffee steamed beside me, its aroma mingling with the faint scent of Amelia's perfume that still lingered in the air. I traced the rim of the cup, my finger catching on a chip she'd made months ago. The house was too quiet now, her laughter and footsteps erased. I unfolded the paper, skimming the article. Local residents Amelia Carter and Oliver Hayes were arrested last night at the downtown train station. The words blurred as I sipped my coffee, the bitterness sharp on my tongue. They'd lost everything: jobs, friends, dignity. Part of me reveled in it, a dark satisfaction curling in my chest. They'd paid for their betrayal, and I'd orchestrated it perfectly. But as I set the mug down, the silence pressed in. The kitchen felt hollow without her humming or the clatter of dishes. Her favorite mug still sat on the counter, half full, abandoned. I'd have to toss it soon. My gaze drifted to the empty chair across from me, where she used to sit, scrolling through her phone, oblivious to the storm brewing. Now, it was just me and the ghosts of what we'd been. I stood, the chair scraping against the floor, and wandered to the living room. The couch was bare, her throw pillows gone. The wedding photo on the mantel stared back, a relic of a different life. I'd take it down later, maybe burn it. A clean slate, that's what I needed. My phone buzzed on the table, a text from Emma. "You see the news? We did it." I smirked, typing back, "Yeah, it's over." Her reply was swift. "Good. Time to move on." She was right. This chapter was closed. I stepped onto the porch, the morning air crisp against my skin. The neighborhood was waking up, kids biking down the street, a dog barking in the distance. Life marched on, indifferent to my victory. I'd won, but the taste was bittersweet. Revenge had filled the void for a while, but now it was just me, standing on the edge of something new. I inhaled deeply, the scent of fresh-cut grass grounding me. Maybe I'd take that trip I'd always talked about, or finally start that project in the garage. The future stretched out, uncertain but mine to shape. I'd rebuild, stronger and wiser. And this time, no one would play me for a fool.